Hello, everyone. It's Millie. I hope you are all having a beautiful day. Wherever you're watching this in the world, I hope you're having an exquisite week and I hope you're all doing well. I have some very exciting news to share. I wrote a book and I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to talk about my process. I wanted to talk about how this transpired. And I want to maybe even share a little excerpt from one of my chapters if you're interested. My book is called Use by Hand Rather Than Automatic. I spent 3 weeks in New York City towards the end of June, beginning of July. Going to the city was kind of a last minute, unexpected opportunity that presented itself to me, and I took it sort of as just a way to escape to a new city and get some fresh inspiration. Use by Hand Rather Than Automatic is an amalgamation of me roaming around this new city, getting into headspaces and philosophies that maybe I shouldn't be getting myself into, but who's to say? And I've joked for some time now, I'm sure some of you know, that I've been wanting to write an Eve Babbitt's-esque memoir. And I suppose this is something of the sort. I even snuck a piece of Eve in my book. I have this locket that I normally wear with her face inside of it, and I put it in my book. She's right there. Rest in peace, Eve. I love you. And everything I do is inspired by you in some way or another. Use by Hand Rather Than Automatic is a collection of poems, prose, a little bit of music. If you know me, you know I'm obsessed with music and I relate everything in my life back to song lyrics, so I had to include my soundtrack of my time in New York City in here and all of the sounds and lyrics that were kind of clouding my mind while being in the city and while even writing these pages. This book transpired, oddly enough, through guilt, I would say. I spent a lot of my time in New York City trying to avoid the heat and trying to avoid the stickiness in the air that I absolutely despise in summer and somehow is a little bit worse in the city. But I spent a lot of my time inside. I would lock myself in the apartment and I would just write. I wrote poems, I wrote songs, I wrote short stories, and I journaled. I journaled immensely. I wrote down every interaction I had with people, every word that was spoken. I wrote down everything that I touched and tasted and felt. I journaled everything, which gave me a ton of material to work with. I highly suggest journaling. I always do. I always recommend journaling. But not just journaling, but reading what you've journaled, because through that guilt I was feeling for not going out and doing things, and I suppose that you could always make that argument, or, oh, I could have been doing more, but I did feel this pressure to be doing more because I was in New York City for 3 weeks, getting to stay there for free, and not an opportunity that comes about very often, and I was like, I should be doing more, I should be going out. But upon reflection, upon reading my journals, I was like, what better way to alchemize my isolation and my introspection than to make something tangible and truthful out of it? And that's how this came about. It's truthful, it's brutally truthful at times, if I'm being quite honest, but it feels so good to kind of write about those experiences and tie them together with thoughts and tangents and things that I was pondering while going through those experiences. This is the physical copy that you can get on my website. I also have digital downloads available for those of you who prefer to read on your phone or computer. I am not one of those people. I love to break a spine. I love to write in the margins and scribble everywhere, so I made these for my fellow readers who also love to destroy every book they read. There's 30 pages of me rambling, and it's all printed and hand sewn by myself, which I'm very proud of. This feels so important to me, and I chose this beautiful cover photo that my favorite photographer, one of my favorite photographers, Lauren Knabel, took of me before I dyed my hair. I don't have many photos of myself. If you know me, I have like no photos of myself, so this is one of the very few rare photographs taken of me in New York City. Thank you, Lauren, for taking this photo of me. I'm so happy. I think I'm gonna share an excerpt from chapter 2 called Jesus and the Witches. Bella and I stopped into a church along our walk. I had gotten a strange urge to pray. I say strange because I have never prayed in my life. I've never been religious, at least not by definition. Even the more spiritual religions lack resonance for me, and I find that creating my own private liturgy of self-destruction provides more solace. And I don't have to leave my bedroom to get on my knees and beg. But I've always had an innate curiosity for religion, for all institutions. There's a human tendency to justify our wrongs, our biases. We gravitate towards groups who will tell us what we want to believe, assure us that our sins are void. Institutions are just a way for us to find community in those sins. You cannot commit atrocities alone. It's a pas de deux, and people are quick to sway to the dance. Bella and I's friendship has always felt oddly religious, as if under some sort of spell, the consequence of our own magical formulae. When we're together, it seems we're the only two in the world, like we're looking through the glass, but no one can see in. Although, maybe it's just oblivion. We sat in the pews holding hands, admiring the eminent display of symbolism that laid before us. I thought only women knew how to make suffering and guilt look so beautiful that I often forgot religion was equally gifted. Belle leaned against my shoulder and whispered in my ear. Every time I see the symbol of Jesus hanging from the cross, I think of the Salem witches being hung at the stakes. That's all I'm gonna leave you with today, but if you want to read more, then go to my website and get your own copy of Used by Hand. And as always, thank you to my muses. Thank you to everyone who lets me write about them. Not that you necessarily have a choice, but thank you to everyone that I write about and that I think about while writing. Not even writing, but anything I create. Thank you to all my muses and all my inspiration and all my friends and my lovers and my family and the beautiful people in my life. I love you all. And I hope I see you soon. I love you all dearly. And we'll talk soon.